People, lock in. I'm gonna explain a thing. Okay, boom. Everybody and their mother is trying to sue New York and Vermont. Why? Great question. Because these are the two states that have passed climate superfund legislation. Climate superfunds basically are a means of holding polluters financially responsible, specifically, for the destruction that they've caused to our planet and our communities. So like, hey, big oil, you've caused X amount of greenhouse gas emissions in the last however many years. Therefore, you owe X amount of money towards this disaster relief because you're the reason for the disaster. Okay, does that make sense? It's a very common sense measure. Now, I want to break down, so that's what the climate superfund legislation is. I want to break down the argument that I heard one of the big oil attorneys give on behalf of big oil. It was a very interesting argument to me, not because it was a good argument, because it was so disingenuous, but so familiar. I'm going to read you his exact quote. What the climate superfund law says, as these New York politicians sit in their penthouse in Manhattan, penthouses that were built with the steel, that were made with the coal that was mined right here in West Virginia, that the toiling of our people wasn't good enough. He's implying that these New York politicians are going after laborers and coal miners, like implying that that's what the superfund legislation, that's who they're going after. This is entirely incorrect. Honestly, it couldn't be further from the truth, and those same laborers, I would bet, have very similar grievances to the folks that are making this legislation. Let me tell you why this argument is so familiar to me. My grandfather was sent to Vietnam like less than a year after my dad was born. And like a lot of other Vietnam vets, his health was hugely impacted by toxic chemicals. His health, other Vietnam vets, the population of Vietnam, their health was hugely impacted by the toxic chemical, specifically in Agent Orange, which was created by a military contractor company. These vets fought for decades, basically demanding compensation for all of these expenses that they now have for their health because of tremendous exposure to such a toxic chemical. The argument that was made by the military contractor who made Agent Orange was essentially, well, the government approved it. The government said you could use it, so the government approved it. The government sent you to war. Take your problems up with them. Right. Exactly like the government approved these billion-dollar drilling and mining operations. It's the same situation over and over. These rich overlords fight about or argue back and forth forever about who should take responsibility, who should do this, while the average person is just left to suffer. You don't need to be a scientist to understand the problems and the impact of climate change. This is a reality for everybody, from the environmental engineer in the lab to the person planting crops and tilling fields. We have to realize the destruction of our environment, of our ecosystem, is not a left or right issue. It is a up versus down issue. It is the classes and the masses. I want to thank the folks behind the Make Polluters Pay campaign for trusting me to share this information with you all in a way that we can all understand, and for telling me what each of us can do as individuals to help further this kind of legislation. I'm gonna put it in the comment section of this video, and I'm gonna add it to my link tree. There is a petition that you can sign to make your voice heard to our representatives in Congress, demanding that they protect climate superfund legislation. It is time to hold these big businesses accountable. It's time for the polluters to pay.